A hush fell across the 10,000 linked systems of the Galactic Alliance. Billions watched the final broadcast. The threat had been delivered. Not just to Earth, but to every civilization watching. It was a show of dominance, a performance of power. Then came Earth's turn to respond. The galactic transmission room shifted feeds. All eyes turned. Instead of a military command post or a panic leader, the screen flickered to a modest kitchen. A human hand reached for a ceramic mug. Steam curled. A kettle whistled softly. Somewhere in the background, a golden retriever yawned. No words. No counter-threat. No declaration. The screen cut to black. For 3 full minutes, silence stretched across the stars. "Did they just hang up?" whispered Ambassador Clorin of the Veldari. "It's a delay tactic," muttered General Haxer of the Dromery. "Primitive mammals must be scrambling." "No," came a voice from the corner, soft but unsettling. Eyes turned to the ZYNX observer, who hadn't spoken until now. His head shimmered with an unstable glow. His kind perceived more than others. "They are not scrambling. They are calculating." The room shifted from arrogance to unease. Aboard Earth's orbital diplomatic cruiser Gentle Resolve, Commander Nathaniel Rourke poured himself a second cup of Earl Grey. Behind him, dozens of screens flickered with real-time Alliance chatter, coded signals, and intercepted sensor pings. He paid them no mind. Instead, he adjusted the cuffs on his navy blue uniform, sat down calmly, and took a sip. His aide, Lieutenant Valdez, couldn't take it anymore. "Sir, the Alliance just declared total war. And we sent them a tea break." Rourke raised an eyebrow. "No. We sent them a message." Valdez blinked. "Sir? That message," Rourke said, stirring his tea, "was, we're listening. We're thinking. And we don't panic." Valdez hesitated. "Should I notify Earth Defense Command?" "I already did. Last week." Rourke leaned back. "This was always coming. The moment they grew tired of our neutrality, they'd move to test us. They want dominance, not diplomacy. But shouldn't we? We are." Rourke turned to face the screen. One panel lit up. Alliance ships were amassing near Mars' orbit. Not close enough to attack, just close enough to rattle nerves. The humans didn't rattle. Not anymore. Back in the Galactic Alliance's high seat, Viarothal the Supreme Speaker was pacing, a difficult act for a 12-legged, 12-eyed crustacean the size of a hover tank. "They didn't even acknowledge us," he hissed. "It may be a cultural difference," offered the Varnari delegate, who regretted speaking immediately. Viarothal's eyes rotated inward. "They know what we meant. They simply didn't flinch." A pause. Then a junior strategist chirped from the shadows. "Perhaps they don't have the capability to retaliate." Viarothal paused. "Or perhaps they don't need to." Silence again. For the first time in over 1,000 cycles, doubt scratched at the spine of the Supreme Speaker. At Earth's Geneva outpost, General Hiwei read the same silence differently. "Rourke's playing this perfectly," he muttered. Beside him, the Secretary of Global Defense frowned. "You're sure keeping quiet won't be seen as weakness?" Hiwei smirked. "That's the point. Humans don't posture like they used to. We don't threaten. We wait. And we're very good at waiting." He tapped the screen. "They're crowding our outer orbit. Probes, scouts, scans, but notice what's missing? No weapon fire? No probes returning," Hiwei corrected. Indeed, dozens of reconnaissance drones had been dispatched to Earth's upper atmosphere. None had returned. None had exploded. Just vanished. Like dust in a vacuum. One of the few alien races to sense something truly wrong was the ZYNX. They were known for decoding emotion, even through digital space. But Earth? Earth was blank. Emotionless. The ZYNX Council attempted contact. They received no reply. Then one of their dream readers collapsed. Screaming. Clutching his head. "What did you see?" they asked. His reply was quiet, blood dripping from his nose. "They're not ignoring us. They're deciding. Back aboard the Gentle Resolve, Rourke stood at the viewing deck, sipping tea. Valdez approached again. Sir? Internal intelligence confirms 3 separate species have begun pulling support from the Alliance Charter. Rourke nodded. Fear spreads faster than plasma fire. Still no word from their fleet? They're waiting. So are we. And the disappearing probes? Rourke smiled politely. Just a little message of our own. Valdez paused, unsure. Message? We let them think we're vulnerable, Rourke said softly. Then we let them reach. The hand that overextends. He made a snapping motion with 2 fingers. Valdez finished. Gets bitten. Precisely. Back on the Alliance's flagship, a new wave of anxiety began to circulate. Probes were lost. Communications in Earth's zone were corrupted. Even their Black Ops surveillance stations reported data anomalies. Then a final message from Earth came through. A single line. No embellishment. We heard your warning. We chose not to respond. That was it. No signature. No threats. Just cold, clinical clarity. Viarothal stared at the message, mandibles twitching. Who the hell are these apes? The Galactic Alliance scheduled a diplomatic summit, not out of goodwill, but strategy. Earth's silence had done what no planetary barrage ever could, it made the universe uncomfortable. Now they wanted to probe the silence in person. The summit was set aboard the Ascendancy, a neutral space station hovering in the Lauren Belt. A shimmering construct of crystalline alloys and anti-gravity bridges, it was often used for peace treaties and executions. Commander Nathaniel Rourke arrived 10 minutes early. Naturally. He stepped out of the human shuttle in a tailored black suit, no armor, no entourage, just him and a simple metal briefcase. Welcome, Commander Rourke, said the AI at the gate in dulcet, too smooth tones. Your weapon skin is clear. You may proceed. Rourke smiled. Oh, I didn't bring a weapon. He walked in. Behind him, the Alliance's security AI ran a double scan. The results came back, inconclusive. Inside the hall, the representatives of 13 galactic races were already seated. They were expecting a trembling diplomat, maybe a flustered negotiator. They got Rourke. Apologies, he said with a polite nod. The shuttle tea kettle was slower than expected. He placed the briefcase gently on the table and took a seat, folding his hands neatly. Ambassador Drex of the Zarnak, a 6-tentacled serpent in gold-trimmed robes, slithered forward. Commander Rourke, I assume Earth is finally prepared to accept the Alliance's terms of surrender? Rourke tilted his head. I was under the impression this was a peace summit, not a puppet show. The hall stiffened. Perhaps I misunderstood, he added with a gracious smile. You dare insult. Drex began, but the Grand Moderator of the ZYNX cut him off. Let us proceed, the moderator said, voice vibrating like sand across silk. Commander, Earth's silence has been disruptive. We weren't silent, Rourke said, opening the briefcase. He pulled out a packet and slid it forward. We simply believed the Alliance would benefit more from thinking than from listening. The packet was labeled Observations. Plain black font en gray. Ambassador Vrel of the Heroine blinked all 6 of her eyes. Is this a report? Of sorts, Rourke replied. We documented the probes sent to Earth. We noted their transmission paths, vulnerabilities, and blind spots. The room leaned in. We also mapped the energy signature of every warship posted near Mars. You couldn't have. Page 4. Rourke interrupted. One by one, the delegates flipped through the document. Page 4 contained fleet schematics. Exact. Labeled. Updated. A slow horror crept across several faces. And what? Said Viarothal, now joining remotely via holo projection. Do you want, Commander? Rourke looked directly into the holo, unblinking. Nothing. The word dropped like a hammer. We're not here to ask. We're here to watch. You mock us? No. I mock pretense, Rourke said, voice still level. You threatened annihilation. You positioned fleets. You invaded our airspace. We made tea. He leaned forward, fingers interlocked. You now believe we should respond. But understand, we already did. There was a pause. Then Ambassador Fren, a crystalline being of the Talyari, asked, Are you threatening war? Earth doesn't threaten, Rourke said. We calculate. Back at the Earth Defense Hub, General Hiwei monitored the summit from a secure feed. 3 are sweating. 2 have stopped blinking, noted his aide. Hiwei chuckled. Let them keep guessing. You're really going to let Rourke go through with the final part of the plan? It's not a plan, Hiwei said. It's human nature. We wait. We endure. And when we strike, it's final. Back on the Ascendancy, Drex had begun to sputter. Your kind is new to the stars. You have no galactic legacy. No founding charter. What makes you think Earth can challenge an alliance of 1,000 worlds? Rourke reached back into his briefcase and pulled out a small, unassuming box. He placed it gently on the table. What is that? Asked Vrel. Rourke pressed a button. The box clicked open. Inside was a fragment of metallic debris. Scorched. Dented. Still faintly glowing. That's the last surviving piece of the Koran dreadnought Thalassian, is it not? Fren whispered. We didn't fire at it, Rourke said. It entered our orbit. We simply invited it to leave. Quietly. But it exploded, Vrel protested. Technically it collapsed. The room went still. I suggest, Rourke said, brushing imaginary dust from his lapel. You reevaluate who you think is new. Outside the Ascendancy, a diplomatic drone from the Avar Collective broke formation. It turned its sensors toward Earth. Again. Inside the drone, complex AI algorithms pulsed, measuring, scanning, adjusting. It saw nothing. It felt everything. Moments later, the drone self-terminated. Without warning. Without reason. The summit broke without ceremony. The human had brought no weapons. He needed none. One by one, the delegates left the chamber, some thoughtful, some terrified, some pale with understanding. Only the ZYNX moderator remained behind. You enjoy this, he said. Rourke sipped from a silver thermos. Not particularly. But you came prepared. Always. The ZYNX narrowed his eyes. Why not attack? Rourke's answer was soft. Because we haven't decided what you are yet. Fear doesn't always explode. Sometimes it leaks. 2 days after the summit, Sector 19 of the Alaxian perimeter shut down its entire sensor grid. No alarms. No warnings. The official report cited technical anomalies. Unofficially, every crew member was reassigned and replaced with unmanned AI. They hadn't seen Earth fire a single shot. That was the problem. Across the galaxy, no one could explain Earth's refusal to retaliate. They hadn't scrambled fleets, held press conferences, or begged for diplomacy. They had done the one thing that couldn't be predicted in a game of interstellar power. They waited. And the waiting was worse than any war. Commander Rourke sat alone at a floating cafe orbiting the Glisari trade ring. The place was quiet, scenic even, with twin moons peeking through the glass panels. A server drone hovered toward him. Refill, sir? Rourke nodded. Make it strong. Galactic rumors steep better in hot brew. The drone chirped and spun away. Across the promenade, 2 Drethian envoys sat whispering to each other. They weren't subtle. He didn't deny the Koran dreadnought collapse. What kind of species drinks while threatening extinction? I heard they map battlefields like chessboards, only after they've won. Rourke caught a word here, a glance there. He smiled softly, sipped his tea, and let the fear ferment. In the underground chambers of the Alliance Command, panic masqueraded as planning. Ambassador Drex slammed his claws on the table. They've activated nothing, no defense grid, no orbital shields, no black site stations. Exactly, muttered Admiral Zor of the Vexarii. It's the quiet. It's engineered. Chancellor Vrel adjusted her lenses. We've known war. We've predicted rebellions. But this isn't in the simulations. They're not refusing battle, said Zor. They're rearranging the board. The room went quiet. We pushed, Vrel whispered. And they didn't push back, Drex hissed. Because they already saw where we'd fall. Elsewhere, a pirate coalition attempted to raid a derelict human cargo ship drifting near the Cryan Divide. The vessel wasn't broadcasting distress. Its power systems were off. Not a soul aboard. 3 ships approached. Only one returned. Barely. Its crew said the ship came alive. No weapons. No engines. Just one signal broadcast in every language at once. You were expected. The crew of the returning ship disbanded within the hour. 1 joined a monastery. 2 stopped speaking. The captain now stares at walls and asks them permission before exiting rooms. Back at Earth, General Hiwei observed the data feeds. Activity? He asked. His aide nodded. Vexarii pulled back 3 fleets. Drethian warships now shadowing their own trade convoys. And the Zywaniks have begun studying human history. Again. Hiwei raised a brow. Which part? Post-1945. He chuckled. Always the same mistake. They think understanding wars will help. What should they study instead? Accidents. Rourke received an invitation 3 days later. Private transmission. Zywaniks seal. Encrypted. The meeting was to be held aboard a hidden satellite observatory on the edge of the Mitra Rift. No press. No entourage. Just Rourke and 2 of the Zywaniks Tri-Council. He arrived early. Naturally. The observatory was minimal, designed more for astrophysics than politics. The room they met in had no chairs. Just transparent floor panels overlooking a gas giant. Why here? Rourke asked. Counselor Eth turned, his multiple eyes rotating slowly. Because no one listens at the edge of things. Rourke stepped forward. You could have come to Earth. We're not ready for that. He nodded. Eth circled him. You play a dangerous game. We're not playing. You destabilized a 1,000-world alliance with a suitcase and a fragment of debris. Rourke met his gaze. No, you destabilized it. I just held up a mirror. The second counselor, Velrin, finally spoke. Tell us what you want. You keep asking that, Rourke said calmly. We're not interested in conquest. Then what is Earth's plan? He looked down at the gas giant spinning below. When humans were children, we were told not to tap the glass of the snake tank, he said. Velrin frowned. Snakes? Rourke smiled. Creatures that watch and wait. You're calling humanity a tanked predator? I'm saying we spent millennia surviving each other, he said, eyes narrowing. Do you truly believe aliens scare us? Velrin stepped back. He stayed still. You're telling us this, why? Rourke turned. To give you a choice. Within 72 hours, 5 non-member civilizations requested independent treaties with Earth. Not the Alliance. Not the Council. Earth. Each offered neutrality. Each promised silence. And each received the same message in return. Understood. The stars are wide. No need to crowd. On a distant moon, Drex fumed. He's unraveling everything. No war, no attacks, just fear. Vrel stood behind him. No, she said. Not fear. Pattern recognition. She handed him a data slate. Dozens of entries. War fleets repositioned. Communications rerouted. Resource satellites moved, subtly, but deliberately. All away from Earth. It's not what they're doing, she whispered. It's what we're doing because of what we think they'll do. Drex sat down, stunned. They're making us draw our own knives, he muttered. And we're pointing them at each other. In his quarters aboard the observatory, Rourke wrote a short report to command. It read: Silence achieved objectives. Tension now self-sustaining. Next phase ready upon your word. Awaiting confirmation. Rourke He closed the message, set the encryption, and stared into the void of space. Across the galaxy, civilizations shifted. Alliances frayed. Empires paused. And humanity said nothing. Because nothing was needed. Not yet. It didn't start with a fleet. It started with a ping. A single beacon, standard, unremarkable, broadcast from the outskirts of the Adrasi corridor, a neutral zone monitored jointly by 5 of the Galactic Alliance's most paranoid species. Normally, such a signal would trigger nothing but a patrol check. But this beacon wasn't from a ship. It was from deep inside an asteroid. And it was human. The moment the Alliance decrypted the pulse, every sensor grid in the sector bled red. The message was short. No threats. No demands. This zone has been compromised. Human relocation complete. Observation unnecessary. That was all. Within 20 minutes, 6 fleets had converged. A dozen warships opened fire on the asteroid. It cracked apart harmlessly. They celebrated. Too early. Because the trap wasn't the message. The trap was them coming to look. Back on Earth, Rourke stood in the tactical chamber beneath Geneva. The room was quiet, dimly lit, humming with silent calculations. Holograms of star systems flickered, spinning slowly. General Hiwei approached, calm as ever. "It's done." Rourke nodded. "They took the bait." "Damage?" "None on our end. Their ships arrived hot. Gave away every cloaked route we couldn't find for years. We have their entire command layout now." The general offered a half-smile. "And their blind spot? Wider than expected." In the shadow of Gliese Prime, a lone ZYNX science cruiser received a priority signal. It was encrypted, and urgent. Their orders were simple: relay everything they knew about Earth's deep space technology. They didn't ask questions. They just forwarded the data. Because they weren't alone anymore. Alliance command was in chaos. Holodisplays blinked with intercepted transmissions, movement logs, false signals, and more. Admiral Zor's voice shook. "They knew we'd react. Knew exactly how we'd react. They baited us into our own blind zone," Chancellor Vrel said grimly. Ambassador Drex paced, claws tapping against marble. "We underestimated their restraint." Again. A junior officer rushed in, breathless. "Ma'am, we've lost connection to the Morvian defense net." "What?" "It's been taken over. No shots fired. The system just rerouted itself." Vrel turned pale. "To where?" "Earth." Meanwhile, Rourke walked alone through a quiet hallway beneath Earth's orbital command center. A technician passed him and nodded. "Everything aligned, sir. We have shadow feeds from 17 enemy systems now." He paused. "Didn't think silence could be so loud." Rourke smiled. "That's because silence is the only sound predators make before striking." The strike didn't come from weapons. It came from truth. 3 ancient archives, thought long lost to war and decay, suddenly went public across the galaxy. Each one detailed dark secrets the Alliance had buried for centuries: genocide in the Nibari cradle, mind-tampering experiments on sentient species, false flag wars to secure mining colonies. All time-stamped. All leaked by unknown sources. None pointing to Earth directly. But every investigation led to the same dead end: human black site tech. And silence. Again. Chancellor Vrel convened an emergency session. This time, no audience was allowed. The chamber was half empty. Many species had gone dark, breaking ties, choosing neutrality over alliance. Vrel stood at the center. "They have shown no weapons," she said. "But the damage is done." Admiral Zor stared forward, hollow-eyed. "This is not war. This is strategic disassembly. They're not conquering us," Vrel whispered. "They're unmaking the stage." Someone laughed bitterly. It was Drex. "They came to the play," he said, "and decided the script was beneath them. The moment the Alliance fractured, Earth made a move. But not against a species. Against an idea. A universal marketplace, untouchable, untaxed, protected by every faction, found itself quietly overhauled. Trade hubs changed protocols. Supply chains rerouted. Currencies collapsed. Within days, Earth became the central node in a new trade system. One based on trust in their calm. Because the galaxy now feared the alternative. In a private room orbiting Europa, Rourke met with a Yethari diplomat. The creature was ancient, skin like dried roots, voice like cracking trees. "We wish no conflict," the Yethari rasped. "We never did," Rourke replied kindly, handing over a data pad. "What is this?" "A list of systems you can claim. Uncontested. Former Alliance strongholds. You'll find them unoccupied soon." The Yethari paused. "And the cost?" "Silence," Rourke said. The final message from Earth came in the form of an interstellar broadcast. No face. No flag. Just a line of human text, appearing on every known screen at once. "We do not seek to rule you. We simply refuse to be ruled." Then nothing. No follow-up. No address. But every species heard it. And every species understood. Years later, alien academies taught new courses. Not about Earth's military, or its weapons, or its fleet numbers. But about patience. About psychological asymmetry. About the art of silence. And in each class, there was a name whispered with caution. Not feared for what he destroyed. But for what he never had to. Rourke. He returned to his cabin by a lake in northern Canada. No medals. No interviews. Just a fire pit, a fishing rod, and silence. A neighbor once asked him, half drunk, late at night, how it all ended. Rourke sipped his whiskey, smiled gently, and replied, "It never started."